Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are following Willup's speed paints. Willup was highly requested by you guys, and I'm pretty sure we've all seen his amazing art. Did you know that Willup's real name is Wang Ling? So I have a theory that the WL in Willup stands for Wang Ling and the OP stands for original paintings. Or it stands for overpowered. We may never know. First, let's talk brushes. I found Willup's brushes from 2013 on his DeviantArt page. Link in description. The package is quite tricky to download, so I put what worked for me on the screen. In this video, I mostly used the Big Soft, which is just a soft brush that he still uses even today, and Brush Sharp, which is nice for details. There's also some texture brushes and a square brush, which I never really used. Without further ado, let's jump right in. There's a Chinese proverb that says, failure is the mother of success, so I do want to show you the 2 failed attempts with this project. I hope you can learn from my mistakes in these. If you want to skip the failed attempts, go to the timestamp on the screen. In my first attempt, I wanted to paint epic background like Willup, so I chose this image from Instagram for reference and tried to follow morning. I also found more references of the same location. The first problem with this one is that the character is too small in the painting. I didn't notice this problem at first. For Willup's horizontal paintings, the girls are usually taking up a good chunk of the screen, and that makes sense because the focal point of the paintings are the girls. So I tried to make it bigger, but then I encountered a second problem, which is this composition doesn't really make any sense. There are 2 bright things in the painting, drawing everyone's attention, lights on the character and lights on the roof in the distance. These 2 things are like fighting for attention, and I don't see a good way to direct the viewer's eyes from one to another. So I started a second attempt. The second attempt started out well. I was able to get some beautifully colored clouds with a textured brush and Willup's favorite, curves adjustment layers. I was drawing Eolian just because I think drawing Willup's OC would help me understand his process better. Unfortunately, everything fell apart once I started painting the face. Like, seriously, maybe my art talent is being a horror artist because I'm a master at creating uncanny valley faces. So anyways, I ended up not liking the pose from that angle because the posture doesn't look elegant like Eolian usually is. I even tried to take a photo of myself sitting like this, and notice that the pose is not natural for sitting and balancing on a thin rail like that. You will fall over. In addition to that, even though I try to implement some composition technique, the whole painting is still kind of boring to look at, just a horizontal roof and some clouds. So I'm a little frustrated and slightly infuriated at my skills. I started again. 3rd time's the charm. I always find that I tend to do well when I'm mad. So I said to myself, screw references. Let's just sketch it and look for references later. That's the sketch I drew in the heat of the moment. Now let's talk Willup. I've thoroughly analyzed 2 videos and watched most of his videos by now, and I know very well how Willup starts a painting. It usually starts on a mid-tone gray background. His sketch has very thin lines and it's in its own layer, set in multiply mode, so it's always darker than the background and base colors. Eolian X is a rare one where the background isn't all gray in the beginning. Once the sketch is done, he blocks in the character's silhouette in a new layer. He also put any furniture or other items that the character interacts with in a new layer. After that, it's either lighting then colors, or colors then lighting. What I observed is that when lighting is simple, like straight from the front or from the side in a dark room with not much bounce light, Willup would do colors first and then put in the lighting because it's clear where light is going to hit. And when there's multiple light sources or fancy poses involved, like Lillian 4 or Morning, he would figure out the lightings first and then use curves to adjust the skin and other colors. Back to my painting, I played it safe and did lighting before colors to make sure I get my lightings right. I have 3 different lighting possibilities, plan A, B, and C. Let me know which one you prefer. My gut feeling is A, so I went with it. The anatomy of the arms are actually way off at this point because of the lack of references. But it turns out that you can always fix it later. If there's one thing I learned about watching speed paints of the masters, it would be that nothing is final, everything can be subjected to change at any time. That's why I love digital art. I did notice that Willup usually start with darker values and paints lighter and lighter, so I toned down plan A a bit to start with darker values. I have organized my layers like Willup and I'm happy with the pose and composition. Let's start coloring. Willup uses curves all the time for color and value adjustments. Curves might look confusing at first, but it's actually surprisingly straightforward. Here's a short video I made explaining everything you need to know about curves, so I don't have to do that in this video. Link in description. First, Willup blocks in a gray base color for Eolian and the table, each in their own layer. Next, he uses lassos to select the shape of the dress, then uses curve adjustment layers to adjust the color. He then uses the same steps to adjust the color of the skin. After that, he creates another curved adjustment layer and adjusts the curves to apply lightings on the skin. I'm not the best at lassos, but luckily I can add and remove lasso areas by holding down Shift and Alt accordingly. I already had rough lightings done, so I didn't need another curve adjustment layer just for lightings. Willup's sketches are so thin that it kinda just melts into his paintings, but my sketch is just poking out all over the place. It took some time to clean it up, but I do like how it looks. Next, Willup added more details. The facial features are more defined, and he created a new layer for the loose hair, so adjusting the loose hair won't affect the face underneath. Here's a cool technique. Willup added a bunch of red using channels. Click on the channel button next to layers, click on the red channel, and then click on the little eye visibility icon on the RGB channel, and you can start painting red. I only did some really subtle red. We want to keep things gray here, not too saturated. After you're done, click on the RGB channel again to paint normally. This technique is great for adding blush to the skin, and is faster to use than creating a curve adjustment layer. So I tried to define the face a little bit more too... Oh no, what have I done? Let's pretend that that never happened. I think the main problem is I don't know how to paint the nose. So I found this painting by ArtGem on Instagram and uses Willup's Eolian for reference. This time I sticked closely to my sketch and only used Liquify a little bit. The face looks a lot better now, and I got the loose hair in another layer. Time for next steps. What kind of sorcery is that? The face just appeared so perfectly. Anyways, I'll try my best. Willup lassoed her head off into a new group. He keeps working on the face and saves a copy every once in a while. This is a good strategy. I find that when there is no line art to follow, it's really easy to mess up the face as you add more and more paint. Constantly comparing my current face with my saves help keeping me on the right track. I selected the head with lasso tool and used Ctrl+J to duplicate the selection. Here are some tips I find useful. Don't forget to constantly zoom out, it helps you see the face as a whole. Liquify is a lifesaver. Use lassos to select the part and then liquify if you want to be more precise. I use Liquify a lot to make subtle changes. Lastly, don't forget to flip horizontally. Sometimes your character has a whole different face after a flip. Now I'm just going to clean up the body because I still have some sketch lines showing while the body in Willup's painting looks basically done. The first thing I had to tackle was her hands and arms. I can't believe how off the arms actually was. I took some reference photos of my arm and Eolian's arm look like stick figures in comparison. I noticed that both Eolian's forearms are longer than they should be. And the chest should be more angled to the left because I tried to pose like this myself and it's literally impossible to have your chest facing forward while twisting your waist 90 degrees to the side. Liquify helped me fix these issues fast, and the red channel technique we learned earlier really helped to add that subtle bit of red tone to her body. Her hairline also looks a bit too far off, so I fixed that as well. I also used some textured brushes by 88GRZES on DeviantArt to paint loose hair. I'll put a link in description below. I played around with several different textured brushes until I found the right one. The legs got some cleanup as well, mostly to remove sketch lines while preserving the leg's shape. Later on, the butterfly pattern on her dress should illuminate the legs a little bit so it shouldn't look so dull. I'm trying to make sense of exactly what movement she's making. And why is her dress flying like that? And after some thinking, I've concluded that there's probably like this huge gigantic fan blowing on her dress, and her dress is made with light fabric like silk, so the dress flows up. Maybe there are two maids holding the dress up as well. Based on that knowledge, I changed her dress shape a little, and I also expanded the canvas so we can see more of her dress in order to show off the butterfly patterns that I haven't added yet. Look how Willup is using curves to add cast shadow from hair to Eolian's face. First, create a curves adjustment layer, adjust the curves until the curves gives a shadow color, and then use Ctrl+I to inverse the mask, and paint with white on the mask to reveal the shadows. The same effect can be achieved with overlay, but it's easier to adjust colors and values with curves. After adding some more details, I feel ready for the next step, jewelry. Since she's dancing, she won't be wearing her crown, so we only need earrings, headpieces, and bracelets. Based on this painting, she also has little golden pellets under her bra and around her waist. Willup creates a new layer for all the jewelries. Earrings are created with lassos. He uses a sharp brush to dot all the general shapes of the golden jewelries and add very rough values, and by that I mean he literally just dots random dark and light spots. Then changes the brush's blending mode to color dodge to add shine to the brightest points. I kind of understand why Willup's Eolian's hair is so dark now. The hair needs to be dark to contrast the shiny jewelry well. So I'm going to darken her hair a bit. Painting jewelries was really fun. For her headpiece, I was literally just dotting randomly and then just randomly making some dots a bit darker and some dots a lot brighter with paint and color dodge. The gold pellets on her bra and waist are just done in a similar fashion. The bracelets are just basic ring shapes plus some dark stripes and one bright stripe plus color dodge on that bright stripe. Willup's steps just work very well. The necklace is more complicated because there are so many little circles, it's hard to just draw the shape right by painting the circles one by one. So I looked at Willup's other speed paints, and his solution is to draw a really rough necklace first to figure out the general shape and colors, and then add the little circles on top of that necklace. Once all the jewelries are done, don't forget to add shadows for a more realistic look. Eolian X doesn't have a lot of butterfly dress action going on, so I watched another Willup speed paint, Butterfly 2 from 3 years ago, to see how he usually does the dress. It's similar to the jewelries. Paint some shapes and then color dodge the light, pretty straightforward. The hard part is designing the shapes. I looked at some pictures of monarch butterflies and black swallowtail butterflies for reference. After I put in all the vibrant butterfly patterns, the skin looked a little bit too dull in comparison. So I used the color dodge layer to brighten up the skin. She really is glowing now. I think the edges on her dress should be more rough looking, because if these bright patterns are very sharp, they take away the viewer's attention from Eolian. It's like how Willup always leaves the unimportant things all rough with messy brushstrokes. So I used a texture brush to rough up the edges. I also added some of these little fireflies. I see them in a lot of Eolian paintings, so they are a nice addition. The last thing I need to do was stretching the dress so the painting is a nice 16 versus 9 ratio, perfect for my desktop background. And we're done! After the study, here's what I learned about trying to replicate Willup's style. The most important thing is definitely composition. Composition makes or breaks a painting. Willup likes to have a lot of grayish colors, so the saturated thing, usually the girls, stand out. The next most important thing is skin lighting and values, which is probably part of composition. And the next most important thing is the face, since that's what us, the audience, likes to stare at. Then jewelry and clothing shapes need some attention in the end. Other stuff could be whatever. I mean, unless he's making one of those epic 3D environment backgrounds for Ghostplay. That's a different scenario. That's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what other artists you want me to study. Bye bye!